Hi everyone, Raj Gavrola, all about life. We're continuing with the 7 strategies to solve a performance gap. We've been through strategies 1 through 5. Last week was coaching. The weeks before, you can go back and look at the videos. They're all in the group. They're all online. They're on YouTube also. And then today's strategy 6 is advice. So what is advice? Advice comes from someone. Usually it's someone that is close to you or has a relationship to you, a friend, a colleague, a peer. You could be paying for advice or have someone on retainer, like having a life coach or someone else, whomever it may be, or having a performance coach, human performance coach, life, organizational development, breakthroughs coach like me, or a consultant, whomever, on retainer, or you procure their services regularly. So what's the difference between those two? Well, the difference is one, you most likely, not most likely, but is more regarded. They can continually give advice, whereas the other people, it's not really their area of expertise, their profession. They don't do it for a living. It's just that they see you struggling or suffering and they can give you advice and some tips. And of course, it's you that has to determine how much do you want to implement it or not, based on what you know, and does it work for you or not? Does it help you? Does it assist you in doing what you're doing? And those are the kind of things that you need to know. And so there's a lot of people close to you that can give you some advice. But eventually, to get to really progress and go forward, you want to go towards paid advice and having someone on retainer, having a coach, a consultant, somebody that's like a third party. They might know you still, and eventually they'll get to know, or you'll both get to know each other. And you'll still have to use your filter, but you'll be talking about situations that are more advanced, that are more complex, that at least for you, they seem that way. And for them, it's not so much because of their experience, their expertise, their knowledge, their skills in this area. And then, of course, sometimes you definitely have to have conversation, honest conversation with them on, how it's working and things of that nature. And so that's the key, is to just know that those are some of the things. Now, here are some things that I know as far as advice that I don't like to see in all about life. And one is you have a bad attitude or you have a negative attitude. Well, that just tells me that you're asking for help, but don't really know how to ask for help. And therefore, because people perceive it the way they perceive it, they think it's all because of attitude. And I can tell you, and in all my work, that it's not really because of attitude. It's because you're not intrinsically motivated and inspired, most likely. Okay. So that's not happening. The second thing is now that we've got that taken care of and that controls your positive attitude, well, it's your mindset. Your mindset. You're not, you don't have either the knowledge, the skills, the tools, the experience. Something is not right there. You're not building it. Or you have a mental fatigue. You don't have mental stamina. You have stress. You have anxiety. So you need to work on having a positive mindset, a winning mindset. You need to have, those kind of things. That's what's happening there. And so having a positive mindset is essential, right? And being intrinsically motivated, inspired is essential. So it's that mindset, that winning mindset, that competitive mindset, that helpful mindset, that wanting to help people and work with people mindset, which is what I obviously enjoy doing and like doing. And so that's the second one. That's the first one. The second one is that you're not confident. You need more confidence, more self-esteem. And hey, we're not necessarily disagreeing with someone on that. Remember the first time you rode a bike? I mean, the first time I remember, helping my sister ride a bike. I'd hold her back and we'd go across the grass and she'd fall and I wouldn't let her. And eventually she took off, went down the hill, and I never had to help her again. Right? So we built her confidence. We built her self-esteem as far as, what she thought about bike, if you want to use that word. But, it's really a lot more than confidence. The reason that she got confidence is because, she already was intrinsically motivated and inspired. She wanted to ride a bike. Her friends had a bike. She wanted to go and ride to her friends' homes and play with them on bikes. I mean, that was her, obviously part of her intrinsic motivation, inspiration. The thing that she didn't have is she didn't have balance. She didn't understand and have the knowledge and the skills to know how to keep that going and what to do. If you go and you fall, can you put your foot down? Do you keep it up? Do you have to fall all the way down? Or, and then what happens if an obstacle comes in? All of those things, which, obviously come through experience and just putting yourself in different situations. And so, that's the other area, and people even say this to me, these things, they say that to me themselves. I mean, they're rating themselves and they're being too hard on themselves. And I'm like, bringing them insights and bringing them clarity, saying, well, look, do you really know this? Do you have knowledge here? Do you have a skill here? Do you have experience here? Do you have all of these things? Do you have, they come to me for life coaching, life skills. And so that's the other area, that clarity. And then the third is, well, the reason that they're better than you is because, or you're not as good, is because they've been doing it longer. Well, there's some truth into that. However, when somebody's been doing something for 5 years, you've been doing something for 5 years, or whomever, and one person's way ahead of the other, why? Well, there's lots of reasons, but most likely they learned or had teaching, coaching, advice that they've implemented, and that's why they're ahead. So it's not always the number of years, okay? That's like saying, well, it took me 3 hours to put up the door, but it only took him or her 1 hour, and you still have the door there. Well, why did one person do it in 3 hours and one person in 1 hour? See, so it doesn't translate always. I mean, there's some truth to all of this, but what I'm saying is that someone like me can help with the coaching and the advice that's needed to bring you along, nurture, develop, build, and grow you or your situation to, make it to where you're getting and receiving better results, improving performance improvement, life improvement. You're accomplishing your breakthroughs more often, more regularly. So those are the 3 areas. And then, I can give you some areas where I've had great advice. I remember when I was coming out of school and I wanted to study biomedical engineering. So I went and talked with, naturally, a biomedical engineer. And he actually didn't really do biomedical engineering anymore. He worked in the hotel business. He's an owner. And he gave me the advice. He said, look, do either mechanical, electrical engineering first, and then you can go to graduate school. And back then, that was a great piece of advice looking back on it, because there were only 2 schools. I applied at one. I didn't apply to the other that had a program in biomedical engineering. I got in, but I didn't go, and I'm glad I didn't go, because I did my undergrad in electrical engineering. And then after school, I just realized, look, I want to work. And, this biomedical engineering field is just very new still. And there's just not that much opportunity in it. I mean, it's neat and it fascinates me. And sure enough, over the years, now I'm in human performance and life. Do you think that there's bioengineering in that, in organizational development and breakthroughs? Sure there is. Absolutely. I have a client who's a hospital. But is it biomedical from a technical perspective? No, but it is in a way, because again, I'm an expert on human performance and life and organizational development and breakthroughs. So you can see that a lot's involved there. So there's lots of areas like that. I had great advice with lots of things, especially with relationships and with family. just how to handle that and how to really forget the past and not put too much emphasis on the future, but do now and do it to where you're creating the future that you want or need or you like. And really understanding how that works and how to build those relationships to make that happen. Because everything that I see is, sure, having knowledge, intelligence, making intelligent breakthroughs, all of that's important. But what I see the most is what's causing a lot are either two things. One is internal conflict, usually caused by some kind of situation or relationship, because people are people. Or it's just because you're being too hard on yourself. Or, and I'll put a third. The third is you just don't have access to the resource or resources, right? And so some people just don't know that there are people out there who they can pay for advice, put on retainer, right? When they're preparing to go into a meeting or they're preparing for something or whatever it may be, just to have that third person look at it and give them clarity and help them with that and help them with thinking through the situation, to review something, to evaluate something. So all of these are areas where advice is a critical role. And of course, there is bad advice, and bad advice, probably out of everything that anybody could ever do for you or to you, is bad advice. And I've had examples of bad advice, and they were horrendous. Whether it's going to the wrong doctor who made a medical error for you. I mean, they might have been good for another person, but for you it wasn't. And that's huge. Medical errors are really difficult to come through. Or it could be